Rain in the forecast.
We need rain. All right, well, we have 5 of us, so
You guys can start.
we can start. It's official. Let's see. What has gone on since the last meeting? I put forth that report for what is it? The ordinance change they wanted to make. The county. What was this?
Was that the change in the
country into.
country into? Yeah.
Right. So the town, the planning board wanted to kind of tighten up their rules a little bit. I guess to give them a little bit more, I'd say, stronger hand when they can, when I guess they're anticipating this other project coming before them again. They were finding that they didn't have a limit on that. There didn't seem to be as much of a limit on the density. So I think they wanted to clarify that, to give it more of a limit on the density for what that county into would entail. So it seemed like we were just supporting the planning board. The planning board needed it, and it's kind of what we did. Supported them. Said, "Yep, it's a good thing. If it helps them, it helps us. It's all good." Do you guys have any opinions on that? Otherwise,
Nope.
okay. Let's see what else. I don't think there was anybody writing any reports from last time, was there? I think we covered everything. It was just the new stuff that just came out. So there was one thing, you picked up the one, Craig. What is that? It's some hydro plan, some hydro.
Micro hydro, and it's on Mill Road, and it's adjacent to the Mensch property. And it's a historic dam that was used for hydroelectric for, I think it was Wilderstein. And it was, the dam was damaged in Hurricane Irene. And what they're proposing is making some repairs to the wing wall of the dam and reinstating a micro hydro electric power facility to run their house to be net zero. And it seems like from what they're implying, it's not going to be a full-time hydroelectric generating, but it's going to generate enough when it's working to offset any needs. But I don't know the specifics. That's one of the ways in which I'm interested in it.
Did you have you had a site visit yet or anything, or no?
No. I reached out to Trimble, and he said that we're going to wait until the weather is a little bit nicer. So that'll probably, I don't know, from what George is saying about next week. Their hearing is on April 5th, so there's still some time. But if we miss next week, then it makes it kind of tight.
All right. Did you guys want me to go through the plans at all? Do you guys want to see it at all? I can pull it up, I guess. Let me see if I can find it. Where's the last referral? I guess it wouldn't be a bad thing to look at it, right? This one, referral list.
You got a new member.
Yeah, I'm gonna make the introduction in a second. Let's see. Which one? Is it a Herm Lions? Which one? I just
Got.
I'm saying the
Property.
the property. What's the name of that? Is it Joel Herm or is it Scott Lyons? Oh, it's Mill Road, right?
Yeah, Mill Road. Yeah.
Okay, so I think I got it. Now if I can do the change of route thing. Let's see, share screen. That's it. Share, okay. So this is it. And I don't know if this is showing us anything. Have you looked at this at all?
Me, yes, I've looked at the plan.
Is this the plan or am I missing something?
I believe that is the plan, yes.
And I'm not seeing, what is this? I don't know. Where is it? Do you know where it is? I don't see where they're installing it.
Is that the only page that you have? Because this is,
Um,
the green circles are some sort of, I think, sample points or something like that. I can't read the label. I think all near where your cursor is, down in the lower left, I think if you zoom in on that, right above where it says site plan.
Proposed control cabinet. So here, boundary easement. I guess it's here. Outdoor NEMA rated. Well, that's the power. There's wetlands in here.
Yeah. Well, it's a long, they're proposing.
Well, obviously it's running on the stream, so that should be a wetland, right?
Yeah.
But I'm still not seeing where they're putting this thing. It's not very. I don't get it.
Are there any other documents attached in the file that might be a bit more clear?
I don't know. You know what? I didn't really look at it very closely. I thought maybe Craig had looked at it, but I don't know. Okay, proposed micro generator. It's right there. And this is the Landsman Kill. They're showing the flow going this way. And I'm presuming somehow that, it's not going to have any impact. It's an existing dam, so we're thinking it's not going to have any impact on the stream and things of that sort. And when they do the disturbance to build it, hopefully that, they'll keep their disturbed area minimized, that kind of stuff. So I guess we don't have much to say about this one, right? Until you see it. Let's see. Stop share. And then Cole picked up one for Mike's tree, right? Did you look at that at all, Cole? You looked at that yesterday, right?
Yeah, did you want to do a quick introduction before we?
Okay,
before
so we've asked Scout to join our board. She's been very active with the town to try to help bring an NRI to the town. And she was part of a presentation that Dave Chernak gave a few weeks ago to the town board. And I was pretty impressed. She's part of the environmental club at Rhinebeck High School, I believe. That's if I got it right. So let's all make ourselves. She's not official yet, but she's put in her application to Ed Roberts, so she'll be on board as soon as they have the next town board meeting, so that they can vote her on. So let's just introduce ourselves. Scout, I'm Mark Dixon. There's no real chair of this committee. I just kind of act as one, and I've just been on for about a year now. And I'm retired after 20 years with New York City DEP. I'm a professional engineer. George, you want to give an intro?
Sure. George Baker, pleasure to meet you. My wife and I own the the Baker House Bed and Breakfast across the street from the Star Library. I'm also a member of the board of trustees of said Star Library. And I'm very keen on historic preservation, old houses, and dry stone walls.
He calls himself an antiquarian.
Yes, an antiquarian, connoisseur, and pretentious and elitist.
Yes, that all fits very well. Cole, you want to give an intro?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a senior at Rhinebeck High School. Maybe you've seen me around school before. And yeah, I've been a member of this board for at least like around 6 months now, I think, maybe a bit longer. And I am also, well, Mark's son. So
Joe?
Yeah, I'm Joe Button. I've lived in Rhinebeck for about 11 years now. I'm a professional geologist. I consult for EPA mostly on Superfund sites here in the Hudson Valley and New Jersey. Yeah, that's about it. Geologist by trade.
Craig?
I'm Craig Olszewski, and I work for the National Park Service. And I'm an architectural conservator. I live here in Rhinebeck. I'm not from here, but I lived here when I was an undergrad at Bard College about 30 some odd years ago. And I've lived here most recently for the past 13 years while I'm working for the Park Service. And like George, I'm also on the Board of Trustees of the Star Library, and I'm also interested in historic preservation. Also preserving the environment. And, you know, sometimes those two things are fair weather friends. So it's important, I think, to have a very broad view of what we're engaged to protect. And that's my approach.
Scout, you want to give an intro?
Yeah, sure. I'm Scout Pronto. I'm a junior at Rhinebeck High School. I'm also a member of the Environmental Club. And my work has mainly been focused on bringing biodiversity into youth climate summits. So I've held various workshops around biodiversity and nature-based solutions at youth climate summits. I organized 2 events at the Star Library previously. And I'm also I'm on the USA team for Youth for Nature, which is a global organization focused around empowering youth to take action around nature-based solutions. And originally I'm from New York City, and I've been in Rhinebeck for like 4 years now.
Well, welcome aboard. I was very impressed to see what, how you presented yourself in some of these other activities. And that's what we need, somebody who's active and engaged like you are. And this NRI project, which you kind of helped, Laura Bertuzzi, or Vanessa Bertuzzi and David Chernak kind of brought this to my attention. And we actually, I'll just kind of divert off of our projects, but this is the next big project for the CAB, which is going to be this natural resource inventory. So Vanessa kind of got me into it. I did a seminar. I attended a seminar last month that was put together by the Hudson River Estuary Program, and their program run by out of the DEC, and they're in partnership with Cornell Cooperative Extension. And they created that mapper where I was able to print a lot of the exhibits for one of my last reports. That showed the core forest areas and things like that. So on a level, they're actually doing a natural resource inventory for the estuary, the Hudson River estuary. But they also support communities in creating their own NRIs. And one thing they do is provide grants. We had a meeting with one of the members, Nate. Nadi Cyrus, I think is his name, and he actually, it was very interesting. He because we were trying to figure out, how are we gonna, what's the path to get funding? How do we get grants? Start to apply for grants. Excuse me, and he answered all these questions, and then toward the end of this meeting, he offered. He said, what we can do is what we have is a technical assistance partnership program that they're going to offer. And the communities who are involved in that, you don't even have to apply for it. He said, all you need is a town resolution to say that, you are going to participate, and it's free. They're going to do all the support for us. They're going to do the mapping, and they're going to write the report. But we got to provide volunteers. So we're kind of getting ourselves into something. This is going to be kind of a big project over the summer. And if we really want to pull off a good natural resource inventory, it's going to really be on our end, our volunteer end, I think, to make it more than just a boilerplate template that they throw out. Otherwise, I think that, if we don't give it the personalized touches, I think it won't be very personal. It won't be, I think it'll just be very generic. So hopefully we can pull together a team. So the town board is going to pass this resolution. I forwarded the information to Elizabeth Spinzia a couple weeks ago, and it's free. How do you say no? If we go with the grant route, they offer grants up to $50,000. They're highly competitive, and you probably don't get the 50,000. The 50,000 is going to larger communities, like cities, things like that. Like the city of Poughkeepsie probably got the 50,000. We probably wouldn't get 50,000. They're matching, so that the town still has to put forth money, and then what the grants don't cover, the town still has to pay for. So this seemed like, how do you go wrong? Let's take all this free resource that we can get, let them put together this NRI for us. Once we have the NRI, it actually will help the town get their climate smart certification. There's so many points, I guess, that you can accumulate to get these credits toward climate smart certification. I think there's some value to that, and something that the town is trying to do. So I think this is a good thing, and it looks like if they pass the resolution this month, it looks like this could kick off as early as June and be done by the end of this, done by fall, possibly. That was the timetable that I was kind of given. So are we up for this? Are we guys up for this? The CAB is really able to pull this through because we are a CAB. I think that's given us kind of that window to get this partnership. And so we're kind of like the point committee for the town to make this happen.
I didn't know any of this was happening.
It just happened.
Okay.
Just happened.
Was there a town board meeting that I should have been tuned in?
Actually, I forwarded you guys the information about the NRI seminar that they had last month. I attended that.
I remember talking about that, and I think that came up at the last meeting. And another thing I'm confused about is you said it was a grant and it was free money.
It's not a grant, it's a partnership. It's better than.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So it's a matching.
We don't need money because they are the resource. They do the work. We don't have to hire a consultant because we have the Hudson River Estuary Program and the Cornell Cooperative Extension. They're going to do the work for us.
Okay, but the town has to pay for half?
No, that's if we had gone the grant route, then we would have to do some sort of, it would have been a matching, there's percentages, but we're not. This is not, we're circumventing the grant. If we were
Okay,
we're not
what had.
doing the grant.
The other thing is, if volunteer time is required, and I'm willing to participate, but what is the level? I mean, what do they need volunteers to do?
That's, I put that out to Nate. I said, what are the roles? Because we got to start pulling this together quickly. We need a team. And I know what roles they expect us to have. He didn't give me this, he didn't give me that, but he told us that once we get the resolution approved, that we'll have a kickoff meeting, and then they'll do a kickoff meeting, and then that should, hopefully we'll get that information.
I would imagine it would have something to do with identifying specific resources within our purview that are worthy of further investigation or might be of some significance. Does that sound about right? Or
yeah, you know what? Did I send it to you? Dave Chernak did a report. I don't know if I sent it to you or not.
Yeah.
The NRI and where the town stands on, and where we are as far as our positioning to create an NRI.
And it was exciting because he had focused on Vanderburg Cove, which is a very sensitive part of the estuary, but also there are some issues with the vernal pools.
Mm-hmm.
This is a largely overlooked resource and something that we would benefit from identifying those and kind of putting those pieces of the puzzle together.
There's going to be what we got toward the end of that report. You'll see that he gave a list of what we would think would be items that we would include in the NRI. So I suggest you kind of revisit maybe that list. some of those stuff is already available. Some of it's already mapped and available. It's just us getting it together. Some of the stuff maybe would require data collecting. I'm not sure, but I think initially a lot of it is already readily available stuff. And then we'll have to
So, sorry I'm late.
hey, Joe.
Everybody doing?
So we'll have to make that, we'll have to figure out exactly what data sets we want to include in this NRI and what's available now, or what do we have to actually get. And then I think they will provide us the assistance, I think, to do all the mapping. And so what I think what this will do, Craig, is it gives us the tool that we need.
Yeah.
To do our reports, because it'll put all the mapping in one place.
Yeah, and that's been one of my friends from the beginning, is I know that these resources are out there and they've been identified, and there are people who recognize why they're important, but they haven't necessarily made it onto the radar scope of the planning board. And if we don't have access to bring that forward and call it to their attention, then it's never gonna come to light. And that, having that information is going to allow us to give a lot more context to these site visits and reports, and just about anything that we're asked to review. We can look on a map and go to the site, figure out what's going on.
Right. We don't know what we're protecting unless we have maps to show what's there that we should be protecting.
Exactly. And that last round of maps was just great. That's really important stuff that we can now just look up.
Now, what this program will do is it'll do the mapping, and it'll create a report. So we'll have a report, and the town can say, we got this NRI, but it won't go the extra step, which is kind of what I really want, which I think really gives it the most value, which is to put all the maps online, to have our own mapper. Some other towns, municipalities do that, and that way it's accessible to everybody. The way it's set up now, it'll just be we'll have a lot of sets of data that we can put in our own GIS program, I guess, and do our own overlays. But when it becomes accessible, I think, to the town, and then I think we can add other data sets that are might have more universal appeal as well. Like I suggested, businesses, restaurants, things like that. It doesn't have to be just to the NRI. I think if we try to, that will give us an excuse to get it more broadly accepted, to make it a web-based platform. If we can make it have more use to it than just the NRI. The NRI could be kind of a subset of all the data that's in there. That's kind of my thoughts to it. So it's going to be a big effort, and it's going to come up quickly. And I think Scout was already aware, and I already offered to try to get some high school students involved in this. And since this is going to happen over the summertime, it could be optimum to try to get some, if there's any high school students, there's a way for us to reach out to the high school students to see which ones might be involved. Again, I don't know exactly what roles we need, what we need.
Yeah, that seems to be the key thing. Find out from Nate what the roles are, identify that. I think we all know a lot of people that could probably, maybe meet some of those needs.
I think we
need also, there's Hudsonia, there are a number of other organizations that have done the advocacy, and they've gone through a lot of this as part of their work, and it might be a simple exercise of just kind of tapping into those resources. And
yeah, well, Hudsonia did do some stuff for us, and Dave got us the GIS data. I haven't looked at it yet, but he did forward us the data from all the maps that Hudsonia did for us. So that
I have it all. I haven't had a chance to load it yet either. I will. I just hadn't had a chance yet.
But the next review I would like throw that data set on top and see, okay, what's there? What are we protecting? I think we're going to have to we got to get the word out to, I think there's other groups and committees that are going to have an interest in this, like this is historical groups. I would think that they might want to have like historical data sets that might be part of the NRI. The Parks Committee might want to have park sets, park data in an NRI. I would like to eventually have trails, walking paths, and biking routes. I think would be a good thing. They don't, like I said, we can broaden it out. It doesn't have to be just natural resources. It can be cultural resources. We can broaden it out a little bit. The more we add to it, I think the more valuable it will be to everybody's. And I think we can get more volunteers if we kind of reach out to more committees and say, okay, this is what we're doing. And if you guys want data, or if you want to have something part of it, part of the NRI, get these other committees involved as well. So I'm hoping maybe we can kind of reach out. The planning board's going to want to be part of this. This is going to help them just as much as it helps us. They're going to want this. So we got to kind of try to reach out to everybody. Hey, Joe, we have a new member. This is Scout. We made all our introductions.
Is that your nickname or is that your real name, Scout?
That's a secret.
Okay.
It's what everybody wants to know.
Oh, well, it is my nickname.
Joe was the only one daring enough to ask.
Yeah, it is my nickname. I'm not telling you guys my
Okay.
nickname.
I kind of thought it was, but
Okay. So that's NRI is the big, and I know for Scout, that's like her primary goal. Like I invited her onto the CAB. She's like, yeah, I'd like to be the CAB, but she wants the NRI. Well, the CAB is going to be the point board that's going to make this NRI happen. So that's why we need Scout as an official member of the board. She's going to be doing a lot of volunteer effort, so she should get credit for it. And it's a really good thing to have on your resume. It's a great experience. I think it's just a little history. Who's it? Ryan Dowden, he's the planner for the village. He was our former chair for the CAB for quite a number of years, and he was just left. He was just leaving as I came on, and so I at least got an introduction. And he said, how long he had been on it. He said, well, his father was on the board, and he came on the board when he was in high school. And I thought that was great. I looked into it, and if you read the information on the kind of the charter definition that the state put out for CABs, it includes 2 youth members on a 9-member board. So it makes a lot of sense to me to get some young people in on the board. It's a great exposure, and I think you'll be a great asset to the board. But I think it'll be great for you to be on. It'll be good for you. A good experience for you. So so I'll start looping everybody in on this NRI discussion that starts going on. I've had discussions with Vanessa and Dave, and Joe Button was in on the meeting that we had, and Scout was in on the meeting that we had with Nate. But I'll keep everybody in the loop now. I'm going to broaden that loop so that you're all in on it now that this is actually taking shape. I think it's happening a little more quickly than anybody expected. We didn't expect that offer, and I just kind of jumped on it. I just planted it into Elizabeth, and Elizabeth is going to run with it. So it just seems like it's just happening, and hopefully by fall we might actually have something complete. I think one of the nice things,
it was a no-brainer, honestly, right? I mean, it was a no-brainer. There was no question. Worst case, you get a lot of free material.
right?
There's no, because if you you were going to have to write a work plan. You were going to have to write a proposal. It was going to be a lot of work to apply for the grants.
Just to apply. And then we don't know what we're going to get. And it's still a lot more work after that. So all our effort now is just going to be into creating NRI. So it's happening. And the CAB can take credit for it. So this is like a big deal for us. It's more than just doing site visits. We're actually helping. We're helping the town and helping the planning board and everybody else who does reviews. So so I'll keep you guys posted on that. Let's see. The other project that was before us was the Mike's tree, not Dave's tree. It was a Mike's tree. It wasn't the same one that Joe did. It was.
Oh, okay. That's my bad. And I just assumed.
I know.
I looked at it quick, and even if it was, if you wanted to do the second stage, that's been fine. Yeah.
No, I think
Okay.
You put in a report for that. I think that one was done. But so I
Yep.
guess very, very active season for the tree companies. I guess they're doing a lot of expansion in Rhinebeck. So Dave's Tree is doing an expansion out by 9G and 199. And
Yep.
Mike's Tree is putting out a facility next to Mavis on Route 9. And Cole, you saw that, right?
Yeah, so I just went and saw, did the site visit yesterday. So yeah, like you said, they're putting in an office space next to Mavis. It sounds like, so yeah, they'll have the building, they're putting in a parking lot and also a area in the back.
Let's pull it up.
Yeah,
Let me pull it up. What's it called? Mike's Tree 99.
Is it on the north side of Avis, on the right side of Avis, or the left side?
it would be
South of, it's south of,
South?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's my place.
like
There's space.
across from Williams Lumber.
So what's this? This is what they want to, what is, this is a rendering?
Yeah, so it sounds like there's like some contention over this design, and it sounds like this is probably not going to be their the final design that they're going with.
To Adirondack? And
Yeah,
not-
exactly. That's what.
Yeah, it looks like
George loves that.
Yeah.
Right, it's not, it doesn't go more, it's not the agriculture, the rural that Rhinebeck is striving for, is that it?
Yeah, that's pretty much what Mike Trimble was saying. I mean, it's a little bit odd. Apparently, all the buildings surrounding like predate a lot of these rules and zoning laws. So none of the surrounding buildings really follow this sort of aesthetic, but yeah, they're trying to push for this one to have more of that agricultural look. So I think that they're working with an architect to come up with a different design.
I think they'll try to make it look more like a Dutch barn, is that what?
I was gonna say a mandrel roof or something.
Yeah.
Triple suggested.
Yeah. So they have the building.
Across from Williams, is it this one?
I'm not really sure what this map or what this plan is showing.
Like the septic field.
Yeah,
I think that's just the site plan with the offsets.
okay.
Showed
With the, they have
Yep.
border distance and setback from the street and all that. They're doing something with swales, some kind of like a rain, what do they call it? A rain, not a rain gutter,
It's like a
Rain-
stormwater retention basin or something.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the property is right on, or the building is going right on top of, a little bit of an elevated area. So the water kind of runs off in both directions. And it sounds like they're working to make sure they preserve that. Yeah, this is a plan. The front of the porch, it's going to be set back 45 feet, I'm pretty sure, from the road, and it's going to be in line with the front of Mavis. And they submitted an application to the ZBA, I believe, to get permission to do that, because I think that 60 feet is
Oh, here we
the
go.
rule.
I'm missing some pages here.
Yeah, so this is the more detailed, you can kind of see what's going on. There's a parking lot, like a customer parking lot in between the new building and Mavis, sort of like on the northern side.
Here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right there. And then around the back of the property, there's a larger parking lot for the equipment for the tree service. Yeah, right there. And I think that those parking spaces are for employees. So those will also just be small vehicles. They're putting up fences around almost like the entire, like the southern side of the property. And also
this fence right here, you're saying,
Yeah. So it's going like almost all the way around.
which right to the building. What kind of fence is that?
It's going to be,
It says,
I forget, it's, I think they said 6 feet tall wooden fence, I believe.
it says chain link. Chain link, topped with 1 foot of barbed wire. Isn't that interesting?
Whoa.
So this
Hey,
is
New York City's moving up here. We got to protect they got to protect themselves.
578 linear feet of a chain link fence.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well,
Barbed
when we were
wire.
talking about it, they were saying that, yeah, over behind the property is like residential property. I didn't actually see houses back there, but
Yeah, I
apparently
don't
it's
know of any.
residential, so they have to have fences blocking. And that was one thing that sounds like the planning board is worried about, is the visibility of the of all like the equipment for the tree service that's going to be parked in the back there.
Right. I would
So
think you might want a solid fence.
yeah, so that's what they're doing, is like something like a stockade fence or something like that, so you wouldn't be able to see through. And I believe that also part of the space is going to be rented out, but they don't know. They don't have a tenant yet. And you can see in that other map is it shows the well that they're putting in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like they're calling them rain gardens, but they're stormwater swales on the
Right.
southeast and northwest side. Yeah, I mean, once you pave all that, the stormwater has to go somewhere. So,
Right.
um,
Yeah. And there's the Rhinebeck Hill runs through the backside. I don't know how far it is from the back border of the property. Was there any wetland involved in this, Cole?
I haven't had a I haven't had a chance to check, but looking at the application they submitted, I believe that they checked that there wasn't, but that's not always very trustworthy. I have to actually go
Yeah.
in and check and make sure.
Well, the Rhinebeck Hill runs more toward Hook Road for some distance. It cuts back at a point. I don't think it's that far up. And do you know what the property is currently being used for?
This is
Right now it's just an empty lot.
Yeah.
I don't
Is it
know what it's
being farmed or anything?
No, I don't think so. It doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah, not that I know of. I think like the property next to it, the next one over, that really, really big one.
here.
Yeah, they were talking about that. I think that is agricultural or something.
The one to the would be to the left in the screen. Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
is farmland. And is it partly wooded? Are they going to be clearing trees or anything like
So-
that?
Yeah, so looking at this map on that left edge there, it is partially wooded. There are a few trees, but it's mostly just sort of brush, kind of separating properties. And it sounds like they're going to be cutting back some of that in order to build the fence along the property line. But they said that they'll maintain about, I think, 6 to 8 feet, they said, of separation of just like brush and kind of stuff in between the property. And in the back part of the property, that is wooded.
Okay.
It's an interesting one.
that might be there's something striking down there. I don't know if that's the stream
This thing here.
behind. If you go back to the other,
Yeah, right
Yeah,
there
it-
you can see.
maybe it was the map above. The other aerial photo, maybe page 6. Yeah, just you could see it. Go back to page 6, I think.
I don't know what page I'm on. Where am I? Up or down? This way? Am I going right?
Go down. Yeah, I think the one that's coming up. Yeah, right there. If you look to the top of the map, north of the Hudson Highlands, you can almost see what looks like some sort of stream coming down.
That
Over,
might be
yeah, that,
In here somewhere.
yeah, and then it goes off up to the north, north or northwest. The map's tilted here, but
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if they've, I don't think where their swales are shown that it would impact much. I mean, those are meant to infiltrate, they're infiltrators basically to allow the water to go in.
Yeah. And this, we've dealt with this particular Rhinebeck kill before, a little bit upstream. And it turns out that it's a trout stream. So the banks are protected, but it's not part of a contiguous New York State protected wetland, because it's not connected to the part that's greater than 12.7 contiguous acres of wetland.
Yeah, but the town, that doesn't, the town covers everything, whether maybe the state only, covers stuff, but the town, anything that's wetland, the town says it all matters. It all matters as far as the town. I don't think they have a minimum. It's like acres of wetland for the town. So just to bring Scout up to speed a little bit, it seems like our primary function lately is that the planning board refers their plans and their applications to us. It's because we're a board and not a committee. That was one of the things that the town did. They made us an official board, and that gives us the ability to comment on all of these applications that come before the town. They come before the planning board or the zoning board of appeals. So especially when, and really our purview is to look at it as far as the environment, and how does it impact the environment? And we try to offer some advice. And we have some resources that, and I kind of last month we went through how to write a report. But the first thing we do is we'll use the Dutchess County mapper, the parcel access mapper, and you can find by looking up the lot number. You'll pull it up on the mapper and you can click on wetlands, and it'll show you the wetlands, it'll show you the floodplains. And now the next thing we're going to use, we found in our toolbox, is that the mapper that the Hudson River Estuary Program has. And that tells us core forest areas, tells us a lot of things. Unfortunately, all of our maps are spread all over the place, and that's why we want the NRI. But so that's kind of our job, is to kind of look at these applications and give them information, decision-making information as to what impacts there could be on the environment. Anything else on this one? And then there was one other one, which is a subdivision.
Yeah, and that's nearby, isn't it? It's up by 9 and 9G.
Lions, is it this one? You guys can still see this?
Yep.
So I didn't look at this at all. Maybe I should read what. Sometimes it helps to just read the application that they submit. Well, now one of the advantages, and we've always been offered to attend planning board meetings. At the planning board meetings, these applications come before the planning board, and a representative will usually make a presentation and explain what they want to do. And so since we don't have anybody at the meetings, we don't hear that presentation. So I don't know exactly what they want to do without spending some time looking through this. I don't want to do that right now. So I'll take a look at it on my own time. And when it's usually just like, if it's just moving a lot line, we usually don't care. But if they're taking a large parcel and making it into smaller parcels, I think we probably might want to render some opinions on what impacts that might have, since that's going to be future developed parcels. Stop share. Oh, so I didn't, we introduced everybody, but Fred, Fred's behind that Town of Rhinebeck virtual meeting sign. Scout. So we got one more person here. He's not an official member. He's our tech support. So let's see, anything else that we want to discuss? The walkway project is, we had a meeting this past month with Josh Pulver. The Alta Engineering is doing their study for the feasibility of the walkway between the village and Rhinecliff. And I think I forwarded you guys a draft before. Not too much has changed. They changed a few of the cross sections, and I had a couple more comments that the cross sections weren't correct. So the next step is Alta, they're going to start bringing this out and do their public outreach. It's just kind of a process. They kind of created these 3 options. 2 of the options look very unreasonable, but they want to be able to say we have these options, that we're send it out to the public and get some public comment, and then somebody's going to have to make a decision. It'll probably be Elizabeth, but they got to make a decision on which option they want to pursue, because the draft feasibility study that I read doesn't really doesn't give you any feasibility information. It kind of makes it look like it's all feasible. It doesn't tell you what the obstacles are. So it doesn't seem like we're going to really know what the challenges are until the town narrows down their options, because the Alta is not going to give a lot of detail at this phase of the game. It's just kind of very broadly based stuff. And then, so we should probably start seeing some public outreach happening shortly for the walkways. They're going to put something up on the internet and create a web page for it. And then they'll post the feasibility study as it is. Try to get some impact, try to get some feedback, try to develop a list of stakeholders and see where it goes. Myself, I just think that the town is just kind of just going through a process to say that they say that we're going through the process, and eventually they'll get down to some nitty gritty detail, but we're kind of far from that. So that's the walkway. You got anything to report, George?
As far as the library, you mean, is concerned?
Sure.
Yeah, no, we still are just awaiting Paul Mays, the architect that the board has hired, to see what he comes back with. In theory, in the next, I guess, 2 months or so, as far as a initial proposal for expansion, coupled with a proposal for some kind of outdoor space. But as of now, I can only guess as to what it's going to look like.
Okay. So anybody else have any thing to report? Anything that anybody's working on, CAB related? I think that kind of covers us, right? Anything else that we want to talk about? So there's a lot coming up with this NRI. So I'm going to keep everybody in the loop so that we can try to, we're going to spearhead this. We're hopefully.
Well, yeah, and it would be good to know what the expectation is and what the time commitment is. And, we want to make sure that it's a number of people pulling and that, we're not dumping a ton of effort that's not welcome or productive. So,
yeah,
be good to know what that is, but I'm interested.
The first step will be
Definitely, if we can get some other stakeholders involved, whether it be Winaki or whoever, there are other groups, I'm sure, that would, once we know what we're actually reviewing or helping with.
And I like the idea of reaching out to Ryan Dowden. We did, the Boy Scouts did an environmental science merit badge a year and a half ago, and he took out the plans for Mirbeau and, showed us the environmental impact statement and explained a lot about that. He was a very helpful person. And, I understand his history with the cab, and I think we should be cultivating more cooperation between the town and village. It's really kind of stunning that we have such separate lives.
Right. Well,
he might be the person to contact within that village structure to
Mhm.
get, to get cooperation or, just
well,
a friend.
Vanessa Bertozzi is the one who has brought this to my attention. She's a village trustee. It is her goal to make this a joint village town effort. So hopefully, and as soon as she saw that the town was going to pass the resolution, she drafted one for the village. And she's already been in touch with Ryan as well, because she said she saw some article that was put out that showed the town of Rhinebeck CAB. It described it as being exemplary, and it showed all these great things that we did and how we had this checklist that we use for reviewing projects. And she asked me about this checklist. I'm like, I never saw the checklist. She said, well, who was the chair before you? I said, it was Ryan Dowden. She's like, well, she knows Ryan, well, because she's the village trustee. She talked to Ryan. Ryan didn't even know where the checklist was. So I guess it wasn't that important to them. But yes, Ryan will be involved. The village will be involved. We want it to be a joint effort between the village. I want it to be a joint effort. I don't know where Elizabeth is, but the way I look at it, there's no reason we can't have data sets that benefit both the town and the village in this. So I'll keep you all posted on that.
Okay, good.
I think we can call it an end to this meeting. Okay,
Second.
over. All right.
In favor, aye.
Yep. All in
Take
favor,
care,
aye.
guys. Take care, everyone.
Nice later.
Nice to meet you
Bye.
guys.
Nice to meet you,
Blue
Scott.
wave,
Yeah,
everybody.
nice to meet you, Scott.